Welcome into our overtime segment here at SportsSource.tv. Happy to have you with us. We have a ton of VFLs here. Well, you're probably not a ton. You put me into it, it may be a ton. We got David Ligon, we got Will Overstreet, Sterling Hinton, LaMarcus Thompson. I appreciate all of you for sticking around. We are going to do you a run through of several of the questions we got from you on Twitter. This segment made possible, when you like these segments, uninterrupted. It's brought to you by Blue Smoke Cigar. You see it there on my monitor, the desk right there. Located out South Peters Road, right between that and Rafferty's. Tremendous. If you enjoy a cigar, who here likes cigars? David likes cigars. Will, you like cigars? You guys like cigars at all? Sterling doesn't. You do?
I don't smoke.
It's good for you. You're smart. You're smart.
Yeah, right.
I bet you'd like a cigar after an Alabama win, though. There you go.
Exactly.
Well, it doesn't take an Alabama win to get down to Blue Smoke Cigar. They've got the leather seating. They've got TVs for everyone down there. They've got card tables, golf simulators. You've got your own personalized locker, so you can keep your own personal cigars. They've got a great humidor, but you can bring your own personal cigars, lock them up down there. You can bring your own hooch, your own booze. It's a good place. Blue Smoke Cigar. All right, I'm going to run through these questions. As you guys answer some, I'm going to be adding more to the list. So the first one, do you foresee a coaching change in season?
No. Definitely not.
You don't see one in season?
No. Definitely not.
No.
Wow, I thought that would get some discussion.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, I assume they're talking about the head coach.
Yeah.
Which is not going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could theoretically have a coordinator change if things really fell apart, but
I mean,
as
You
bad
don't think
as
if
I
things fell apart, you don't think he could go in the middle of the season? I mean, Fulmer middle of the season,
Well,
Majors middle of the season.
I mean,
Dooley was last game.
you've got a new AD, so you're not. I don't. This is his first year. You're not going to have that move during the season. I did think, like yesterday, if Florida had come out and rushed for 250 yards. Then I thought you could see a defensive coordinator get removed and changed out. So I still think that's a possibility, depending on how this year goes against different teams. But I don't think it's a head coach being moved mid-year.
Okay. Anything you want to add? Nah. Okay. I went off on John Kelly doing the Gator chomp, which was dumb. It cost his team. It's 15 yards. The kickoff then was run back a long way by Florida. It set up a touchdown. It was dumb. But, of course, I got responses on Twitter where any taunt is a good taunt, saying that he should be allowed to chomp. Their fans taunt us with chomping. The players should be allowed to chomp. It wasn't taunting. It was celebrating his hard work. Okay.
The
You
fans
guys handle it.
chomping and the players doing something on the field entirely different. Fans do a lot of things at times that are not really good that you don't want players doing on the field. So that's entirely different. That is a stupid mistake by him. You cannot let that get to you. Put it this way, Georgia's taking off their helmet last year, celebrate, cost them against us last year, and gave us a chance to have that Hail Mary. Those things cost you ball games. Don't lose the ball game. Hey, after the last buzzer goes and you're out in the middle of the field celebrating on the other opposing team, you can do this all night long and no one throws a flag.
I'm good with all that.
When I say that to John Kelly's defense, John Kelly was in the moment. I don't think he would ever do it again. He's a class guy, an incredible athlete, and our best football player. So I would like to apologize to the Big Orange family for him because he's really a class player, class person. Just got caught up in the moment.
You know, there's nothing wrong with celebrating. You know,
Right.
Your team got in the end zone. You're clawing back. Go hug your teammates, celebrate with them, go to the sideline, and move on, and you probably win that game.
Okay. One of the things we were talking about in between here is one of the things that bothers me is if you're taunting and celebrating when you're losing, you haven't played well. If the scoreboard says you're down, I don't want to see a bunch of histrionics. There's nothing sillier than, for example, defensive back gives up a 25-yard gain, tackles the guy, and gets up shaking his finger, wagging his head, or it's like you just got beat for 25 yards. How about you just step back to the huddle there? But I'm old-fashioned, so let me ask you this one: who's your starting quarterback versus UMass? It's still Dormady.
Yeah,
it has to be the starter.
Yeah, definitely Dormady. I think we see Garantano, but it's definitely going to be Dormady.
How much Garantano do you see in this game?
A lot. I think you see a lot. I think you see a lot of everybody. I think everybody needs to get some reps in this game. Game preparation, game experience in this game.
All right. Next question. What coach in America gets down on the goal line and stays in the shotgun? Do they not have any plays for going under center? They said all offseason they were going to have a package for going under center, but we haven't seen it. And if you remember, if you go back and find that episode, I said we'll see it when we believe it. I don't buy it.
I do believe the first play of the year against Georgia Tech was under center.
Under center.
Right. Yeah.
Well, they've broken that
It's
tendency,
there.
haven't they?
It's there. I don't know why you wouldn't have gone back to it in that situation, but they've done it.
Here's the thing about coaches on the goal line who sit in the shotgun. I showed this last season because it was one of these things about perspective. When it's your team and you're emotionally invested, you pay greater attention. Teams do this all over. Yeah. It's part of the spread now. David Cutcliffe used to do it, who everybody loved, especially when he came back in 06 and 07, sitting in shotgun at the 1 yard line. It drives me nuts. But one of the funny things is because he won last night, message boards, I'm getting it, it's all Dan Mullen. We need Dan Mullen here at Tennessee. Now, if he loses last night, there's not a single soul saying that. Yeah. They just saw him win when they were mad, so they want Dan Mullen. Here's the thing about Dan Mullen. What kind of offense is it he runs? Oh, yeah, spread, shotgun at the 1. That's Dan Mullen. So
what's amazing about that, and we talked about it all set, Marcus and I talked to Willie Raincloud a little bit about it, is it's incredible that, you think about the Super Bowl when the Patriots mounted that incredible comeback against the Atlanta Falcons. Well, the play before the touchdown was a shotgun pass by the incredible Tom Brady to his receiver, which a DB dropped. The next play was a handoff for a touchdown to complete the comeback.
He was throwing it to a tight end. He got tipped. He didn't drop it. He barely tipped it.
The DB made an incredible play on it. I mean, it could have easily been an interception.
It could have been,
from my view.
It was almost Seahawks Part 2.
I was going to say, we was talking about that, to add on to that, Seahawks Part 2, basically. Or you're on the 1 yard line, you have your workhorse sitting there, why not punch it in?
Yeah. Now, again, I will say this. If Kelly doesn't drop a pass, if Palmer doesn't drop a pass, you've won the game, and we're not talking as much about play calling.
Right.
But they didn't, and we are.
Sometimes you want to do the easiest thing to put your team in the best position to win. And when you're at the 1 yard line, it's a lot easier to rush 3 times and get a touchdown than it is to try to get to a ball to a receiver. There's no doubt about that. And just give yourself the best opportunity to win. And there's no doubt when you've been moving the ball like they were at that point in the game, when you've got a workhorse that's been doing that, you got a big number 73 that I watched that whole game with, who was moving men out of the way.
Yep.
And there's one play to run. There. Yep. Call it a day.
For 5.5 feet, I like those chances.
And if they're concerned about the noise, because you go to, a gun snap's a silent count. You get down there at the goal line, there's a lot of noise. But when you're going to run over your right guard, there's nothing wrong with getting under center. They're going to be able to hear the quarterback, and it's just a turn. That running back's going to take it, and you've got to time it up because that linebacker's coming over the top. You've got a center and a guard going up there trying to tie his legs up. It's an easy in. I'm not against having a gun snap at the goal line, as long as the linemen are down. They're in a 3-point or 4-point stance. But sometimes, we've seen them when they're in an up stance. You can't move anybody like that.
Well, here's another thing that I thought was interesting, and I just lost as I wrote down somebody's question. There was another play. It was a 3rd and 1 where they're in the shotgun, and they actually kind of pitch the ball back further to Kelly. And he has to just give a superhuman effort to kind of inch the ball for the first down. It's not the goal line, but it's the same situation. You need a yard. You're starting off in the shotgun, okay. But then the play is kind of a pitch back to him even further. So you've taken you need a yard play and turned it into you need 5-yard play. That to me seems odd. If you've got an under center package.
I tell people, I played quarterback in the 1900s. The game has changed incredibly since then. And I know with these spread offenses, you got matchups that you want to take advantage of. But, it's still, at the end of the day, from my perspective, as I see the game, and I know Coach Scott has an incredible amount of play combination to set up other plays. But when you got the defense, they can run and pass, offense has an advantage. That's just my thought process.
All right, quickly, any concerns that they're going to wear out John Kelly and Marquez Callaway? Not if they keep taking Kelly out like they did yesterday.
Well, if they play him like they did against Indiana State.
Yeah. Maybe. Manage him, but I would try and manage him where he doesn't play much against UMass, but he'll play a lot against Georgia. rather than the other way, having to take him out against Georgia in the fourth quarter.
Those guys
Or
are
two
UMass, they need to put him on special teams, John, on kickoff.
Yes,
Just leave him in the
punt
game.
coverage.
Every snap.
Return, and every play in the in-between.
And he can play some linebacker too.
And if they were asked to do that, Will, they'll do it. Those guys are
they do it.
workhorses.
They'll
They
do it.
They
They
want to
do it.
play.
Right,
They really want
sure.
to play.
Let's face
They're
it,
players.
it's the coaching staff's jobs to keep guys off the field at times, even when they want to play. When you're going up against UMass.
You manage
Also,
players.
the coach's job to keep them on the field at the times where they need to be. On
Exactly.
The field,
Good
which I didn't
point.
get. Where it's a lot of times where guys went on the field in critical moments.
Yeah, and if Kelly had been saying, "I need a blow, get me out," that's different. I understand that. If Batuli was not ever getting them into the right defense and Jumper was, okay. But I don't think that's what it was. And it certainly didn't look like Kelly was gassed to me. But anyway, next one. Is Tennessee the third best team in the state? You always get that crap. I don't think so. But Vanderbilt beat Kansas State yesterday. Memphis upset UCLA. I think
The way
college.
Memphis played yesterday, I don't know if we'd have beat them.
Yeah.
But they was home, wasn't they? Oh,
It was.
Well, if that's
Tennessee went in the state yesterday.
if that's what it's come down to, that we have to get Memphis here.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, okay.
They had great
Do you think the
days.
third best? Will's smiling. Do you think it's possible? It's possible, technically.
Oh, right now, you Vanderbilt's got the advantage over you. Last year they beat you, right? And you're not going to play Memphis, but they look pretty good. So I don't think it's not an argument. How about that? I mean, I don't think there's any. Now,
Yeah.
forget that, right? I mean,
I
right
just-
now, it's
In the
realm of
past, you
discussion.
say,
This is your last time
whatever.
out
Now
there.
you got to
It seems like an exaggeration to me.
In
but,
my thought process right now, it just doesn't matter. We'll play. We'll see Vandy in November, and as long as we hit our business, we'll let everything else forward.
Long
and
season, you're right.
they better handle their business against Vandy this
we
year.
will. We will.
Okay, that's what you said about the Florida game.
I'm
All
saying
right. Compare John Jancik's last 16 games versus Bob Shoop's first 16 games. Jancik was better. Now, everybody in the world, I mean, there was like a Shoop watch here. Everybody wanted Bob Shoop. Fans were excited about it. Media was like, "Ooh, look what he's done at all
think-
these
I think
places."
people
So
thought we were
there
getting
were a lot of
Stoops.
people that wanted Shoop. Yeah, a lot of people. Did I say Stoops?
No, but I think that's what people thought.
Yeah. So a lot of people wanted Shoop, but right now, Jancik's last 16 versus Shoop's first 16, I would take Jancik's.
There's no doubt. I also thought Janzik's were more physical. I thought they were more intimidating and more physical defenses on the field. I watch those two teams and I think back when those teams were intimidating quarterbacks. They put guys on the field. They knocked guys around. And I never questioned if they had the best player on the field at a certain position at any point in time.
At the time, and I want to get. Well, what's your take, LaMarcus? You were a defender. What's your take on the Jancik versus Shoop?
I'm still with a question mark with asterisk on it, simply because the first 16, well, not before last season was basically a lot of injury-ridden season. You know what I mean? So I'm going to put a little asterisk on it just for that reason. You know what I mean? But what I've seen I agree with Will. What I've seen this year, I don't know.
Okay. Last one. Somebody said, "Why is this team still running the option when we don't have a running quarterback?" Well, for one, there's a difference between changing schemes and changing systems. A lot of people think that if you're a spread coach, you just dump the spread and go to a pro-style offense. You don't see that often. I mean, even Urban Meyer didn't when I mentioned it during the show. He adapted his spread to throw more. Chris Leak threw, Tebow came in to run. So you had two guys doing that same offense. It wasn't, okay, scrap this, all this stuff we've done about mesh points and all the way we line it up and block it, we're throwing it all out the window midseason and we're going to do X. You don't see many coaches do that. I can't think of anybody that's done that. What you do tend to see is, all right, we don't have a good offensive line. We're going two tight ends, fullback, we're going to run more. All right, wait, we've got four great receivers. Let's get them on the field. We're spreading it wide. You see, that's not an entire offensive system that gets chucked. That's the way you run within your system. So when people say, why are you still running the option? Unfortunately, that's the offense. That's what Dan Mullen runs. That's what Chip Kelly runs. So you'd still see it. The question is Dormady the right guy to run it?
What
It
does
doesn't
John
look
Gruden
like
run?
Yeah, what's Gruden?
Way to start it.
Spider Y banana or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
I'm going with my A statement in the beginning of the year. We talked about this back in August. Dormley is a better runner than you guys give him credit for, and Garantano's better.
But he
passer
looks
than you
like
guys
he
give him
looks
credit
like
for.
Peyton Manning running. No, he doesn't.
Well, no, he doesn't look like Peyton Manning running. I would digress from that.
He looked a little stiff.
He getting away from that end yesterday.
Well, he was a little injured yesterday.
Everybody's arguing with
Well,
you.
that's fine, but he's playing and hurt yesterday also. Don't forget, the man is playing hurt. He took a nice big wallop on the leg.
He's not a runner.
And he can't make it again.
That was okay. Go ahead. I didn't
That's
mean
all.
to cut
That's
you
all.
off.
No, it's fine. I mean, I get it, but I'm not saying he's a runner, but he's a better runner than you give him credit for.
Okay,
Better runner than
All
you
right,
give him credit for. People, he's a better runner than you give him credit for.
he's a good athlete, but he cannot outrun any defensive end in the SEC.
I'm not going with
Thank
that.
you.
I'm not going with that.
Good night, everybody.
There's somebody out there, he's outrunning. He's outrunning somebody.
But here,
Go ahead.
My question is, why can't we run, or he takes a page out of Urban Meyer's book and run two quarterback system? Why can't we do that?
I think
does
two quarterbacks should play. They
Does
both play.
Garantano just not know the offense? Is he
Nah,
that
he's
far?
good. No, he's good. Right. I think what's happening now, you got the coach trying to stick with the guy he made the call on. They're both very capable quarterbacks, both of them.
And you're not asking him to learn the whole playbook
Right,
to go. If
right.
let's face it, when you
Tebow's,
go in,
Tebow's package was, we snap it to you, you run straight up the middle.
Yeah.
That was his package as a freshman, and no one could stop him.
yes, there's 100 plays in this offense. They're going into each game with 20, 25, and that's what they're going to run throughout the game because of what that defense is going to present to do. You could easily split it up and have Garantano do some things.
Yeah, let him be
work him in there.
your run guy. And see, I never bought it all.
My experience with it wasn't good. I've been in the two quarterback, and it was a nightmare, but we've seen it work.
Yeah.
I got a thought. Think about back when Dobbs, when he first came in.
We had these same
substitute,
conversations.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He didn't look that great, But when he became the guy, he was a whole different player. But do you wait too late to put him in?
Yeah, and as I said during the show, if you put Garantano in, and all of a sudden you find out, it's kind of like Casey Clausen. He was not known for being a good practice player. Dobbs wasn't known for being a good practice player. Put him on the field, things change. They're pretty good at game time. Maybe Garantano is better in a game than he is in practice. If that happens, it would be helping your team. So I'm saying do it, obviously. But you'd have people that would then turn around and use it as a negative, saying, and it might be me that did it, saying, why the hell didn't you play him sooner? How did you not play him sooner? If he turns out to be better, it wouldn't be the first time we've done that.
Let's talk about turning out to be better. Let's talk about that. Talk about Chris Leak and then Tebow. Let's talk about Tebow and Cam Newton when he was a freshman at Florida. Yeah. Same situation. So you got guys, you got exceptionally talented quarterbacks. You got to find a way to get them on the field. That's where I see it.
I would say that's the whole scheme with this coaching staff. They're exceptionally talented guys that it takes somebody like at wide receiver to get hurt before somebody out of something. You comes on the field and you're like, wow, he can make plays. Where's he been? Or a linebacker has to get hurt for another guy to get on the field that he was going to be the third.
He was going to be behind Austin Smith, yeah.
And I'm looking at that guy. I'm like, wow.
I just continue to go.
First series yesterday.
Big problem.
He made a play on the sideline from the middle linebacker spot.
He out there. I was a mess. He definitely. He covered a lot of ground.
My staff is going to. The crew here at WATE, their staff that is so kind to allow me to do this show. They're going to scream if we go any further. David Ligon, Will Overstreet, Sterling Hinton, LaMarcus Thompson. Thank you very much, guys. We will see you. We'll talk to you on the radio on Friday on WNML. We'll see you Saturday morning on Fox 43 at 10:30 a.m. for the Sports Source kickoff, and we'll see you right back on Channel 6 at 11 a.m. next Sunday. Thank you very much, and do me a favor. Get out if you like this kind of show. We've been around for 15 years. It's all about those sponsors. Let them know it. I'm telling you about good people. Hopefully you'll go out and check them out. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week.